first presentation will focus on EULEX, the main problem why EULEX, which stands for European Union Rule of Law, is not achieving its goal in the north of the country, and namely is what I refer to as disembeddedness. So EULEX, so this is the map of Kosovo and the north. My research is focused on comprises the municipality of Leposavic, Zubin Potok, Cveka, and Mitrovica. So, what has done EULEX so far? As my former colleague said before, it was deployed in December 2008, but it became fully operational in April 2009. So we are almost 4 years. I mean, it's almost 4 years that is on the ground, and what it has achieved in the north of Kosovo are what I call the 3 rules of our laws: and police, and justice, and customs, plus this multi-ethnicity. It's the largest EU Common Security and Defense Policy mission, as it was said before, the most expensive one, amounting, as per the 1st of February 2008, to around 800 million euros. It is the first for many reasons. It has already mentioned the size, the staff, so I will not go through it. The mandate is also very large, and he also underlined that. I just want to remember that the mandate is very encompassing, large, and it is the first fully integrated rule of law mission. And despite the police, justice, and customs, is also the first EU Common Security and Defense Policy to be endowed with some executive powers, which in fact, under the letter of the mandate, the Council Joint Action 124 of 2008 are broadly defined. So this means to leave a large margin of maneuver with what the EU can do in terms of tools to achieve the goals. And is also the first, for another reason, for a tough programmatic approach, which is a 5-step approach. The first phase is the proposal. So EULEX experts assess on the basis, assess weaknesses and strengths in the 3 fields of rule of law areas, so police, justice, and customs. Then there is the specification phase. This is an interaction between EULEX staff and local counterparts, so they see where more action is needed. There is the implementation phase with a detailed action plan. The action final report, which provides data in terms of weaknesses and strength, and then the evaluation report. On the basis of this programmatic approach, EULEX has issued so far 4 program reports. The first one was issued just a few months after its full operational capacity, and the first important element which comes out, I mean, which in my view comes out, but if you go through the literature, it comes out not much, is that the ethnicity component is the weakest one. And then there is no mention at all about North Kosovo, which in my view, because of its what I call ethnobiography, should have been prioritized with targeted action, because EULEX has made really a mistake from the very beginning. Then there is the second program report, was issued in summer 2010, and at the time of reporting, the Kosovo police, Kosovo customs and justice were under construction, but nothing of this has taken place in the north. The third program report, as per the third program report, so we are in the summer 2011, the Kosovo police and Kosovo customs have become autonomous entities, but even though there is always EULEX team that supports still, but are more autonomous than, of course, at the beginning in 2009. The Kosovo Judicial Council, so the main judicial authority of Kosovo, was set up, but we are in 2011, and in Kosovo nothing has changed. In the fourth program report, it was last summer, 2012, and here are detected some improvements in the field of police, but shortcomings in the field of justice and customs. And again, Kosovo is completely neglected. The main problem is that ULEX has missed to consider one important aspect, which in fact the former head of mission, Xavier Budemanak, because now there is a German one since the 1st of February, Bernard Bouchard. He said in the foreword of the ULEX, the fourth ULEX program report, rule of law is not solely responsibility of those who work in the police, customs, and justice. Rule of law is something that all of us can have a positive impact on. The problem that ULEX has been unable to put the words into deeds, and above all has not understood the rule of law is not a kind of rule book that you can simply export and apply elsewhere. And it has not understood that the Kosovo, but also the Western Balkans, the other Western Balkans, Southern and Eastern Europe, are characterized by their sort of mental irredentism, which is a cultural component, but which is very important that you have to take into action in consideration when you deploy a civilian mission, ULEX-like. And with this, I want to refer to a quotation of a German Southern Eastern historian who says, when I will translate, don't worry, later, so he says, hinzu kommt ein zwar nicht mehr realer, aber mentaler Irredentismus. Es gibt eine gassige Landkarte, die mit der realen Geografie nicht übereinstimmt. Das eigene Land muss eigentlich größer sein, als es tatsächlich der Fall ist. Translated means that the problem is that in Kosovo and the Western Balkans, there is not a real but a mental map. There is a spiritual map which does not match with the real geography, because one's own country should actually be bigger than actually it is. And ULEX should, the European Union should, as a whole, not just the common civil defense policy, should understand that the Western Balkans are not the Eastern and Central European large countries in terms of enlargement, in terms of peace building. So ULEX at the end of the day is acting, as I refer to, as a disembedded technician in trap of its own legal conundrum, because ULEX has not considered the fact that rule of law and multi-ethnicity in Kosovo are intertwined concepts. You cannot think to achieve rule of law. Me, I'm always referring to the North. That's this very peculiar situation. Are intertwined concepts. You cannot think to achieve rule of law just by collocating policemen, judges, and customs officials who dictate how to rule. You should consider a broader perspective, conceptualization, when you operate into a ethno-politicized environment like Kosovo. Then there is another lesson learned, or a lesson that you, in my view, should learn. I don't know if it will follow my suggestion, but it's something that during my research I came through, and is what I refer to as assertive framing. And it has to do with the legal level, because as you know, ULEX has taken over the function of United Nations, the United Administration Mission in Kosovo, which was a kind of Magna Carta of Kosovo for almost 10 years. The problem is that ULEX has not made the fact that it has not achieved goals in the North is also because of not clarifying at the level of the mandate who I am and with whom I'm interacting with, in the sense that the mandate does not could have been more precise. First of all, making a specific mention to the fact that his enhanced role in Kosovo has taken place because of the changing circumstances on the ground. You can read it in the UN resolution of 15 June 2008, but you cannot really clearly understand in the mandate, Council Joint Action 100 2004. But this is only one aspect. I mean, because the other aspect is the incoherence between the common foreign security policy and the common security and defense policy. So, ULEX may have in the mandate explicitly stated, well, there are 22 countries which recognize Kosovo. This is not just a question of labeling; it's a question of definition. And we can transfer this thing to the more sociological level. In terms of identity, I have to define myself in order to interact with the other, but also in geographical terms about borders. Yesterday there was this discussion about, is it important if Serbia recognizes Kosovo? Is it important to define, yes, if it's a boundary or if it's a border between Serbia and Kosovo. I'm sorry that the speaker is not here, but it's important. And then, because ULEX has many absurdities, the status neutrality, the fact that even though is acting under the UMIC resolution 1244, at the end, Catherine Ashton, the High Representative of Common Foreign Policy, has signed an agreement of deployment with the President of Kosovo, Atifete Yaga. So there are so many incoherences that are undermining the effectiveness because you are not clarifying what is your position in that country. And at the end of the day, ULEX is not visible in the north because Kosovo Serbs look at the United Nations as the only credible interlocutor. So what you can expect, you could not have get better results if you from the beginning didn't adopt a clear-cut position. And then also in terms of structure, it's very complicated, the structure of ULEX, and there are so many feedbacks mechanisms. I don't want to mention all the people, the people know the stuff, but the key people are so many levels and layers, and it's really difficult to follow the feedbacks and information flows between Pristina and Brussels. And then I will go back later to this, but and then the other suggestion is the setup of what I refer to as a common peace human security policy that could not could not should not implement should not substitute the common security and defense policy, but should complement the common security and defense policy. And with this, I had an interview with an expert of the European External Action Service in Brussels, and it will not require a change of the Lisbon Treaty, but it will be enough to achieve an agreement the Civilian Crisis Management Committee, so between the member states, and it will be just enough to amend the mandate. And because a common human security policy, of course, much research is required on that, but it's not enough. You send just technicians on the ground in a so complicated environment. And with this, I want to refer to a quotation which is to be read in the preamble of UNESCO. Since wars begin in the minds of men, in the minds of men, the foundation of peace must be constructed. So these are all documents. I will not go through that, but I will just to go back to the discussion I was doing about this flow, information flow that you cannot follow. You cannot really arrive to an assessment of ULEX. These are all documents I will go through. I asked personally, access through the regulation 1041 of 2001 for public access to the documents of the European Commission, European Parliament and the Council to the General Secretary of the Council. The problem is the majority of these documents have been not granted access and classified as EU restricted. Even though I have the last communication from the General Secretariat, because there is the possibility also to ask for a you can make a confirmatory application, and you can ask, well, I'm not so satisfied. I would know why in detail I cannot get access. And the last communication from the Council, 3 September 2012, was that due to the complexity of the examination, the confirmatory application and timetable or meetings of the various Council bodies, a decision by the Council can only be taken during the second half of September. Now we are in February, but I did not get but it's very complicated. So it's also a question of visibility, of accountability, of transparency. It's really difficult to assess what ULEX is doing or not doing. And ULEX at the end has been launched as a purely a technical quick fix, and this is a major problem. To quote Giovanni Grevi in a multi-author publication of the European Institute for Security in Paris, and this is one major problem. And then I want just to, not to conclude, but to close the session with a quotation of Saint Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, who says, si tu veux construire un bateau, ne rassemble pas tes hommes et tes femmes pour leur donner des ordres, pour expliquer chaque détail, pour leur dire où trouver chaque chose. Si tu veux construire un bateau, fais naître dans le cœur de tes hommes et tes femmes les désirs de la mer. It means, if you want to build a boat, just not gather men and women and give orders and explain in detail what they have to do. Or where they have to find something. If you want to build a boat, just make flourish in the hearts of these men and people, women, the desire of the sea. So at the end, the European Union should less dictate how to rule, but make increase in this Balkan population, Kosovo Serb, Kosovo Albania, the desire to rule. And thank you.